INDUCTRIX 200. What I did here with this one is, you know what, I was tired of this battery here where you really can't check it. You can't use a LiPo checker to really see where you're at. You don't know where your LVC is at either. You're not really sure because there's no way to really, you can't use a LiPo checker with this end here. There's no kind of adapter out yet. So what I did was I went ahead and actually opened this up and I soldered 2 wires to the actual plug that's on the inside, you know, which is the other end of this, which is down inside here. I soldered 2 wires, a positive and negative, and I have a JST plug, which I put a little piece of Velcro here and here, just so I can attach it to the side, you know. And I'll show you what's cool about this is, what I'm going to do is, I've actually already tried this out. I put a little piece of Velcro, not the fuzzy side, but the other side, and I actually put a piece inside here to protect the chipboard, which is actually exposed for some odd reason. The way, I guess because the way the battery fits, it protects that chipboard. Well, not protects it, but it covers the chipboard. Go ahead and put a little light on the situation for you. Sorry about that. Yeah, I always like to do that. Anyway, now maybe you can see better. Actually, okay, when you're not using this battery, you're going to have an exposed chipboard here. So I put some of that Velcro, just cut a little piece and kind of slid it off in there. So this way, when I slide this battery in, it's not rubbing up against the chipboard. Yeah. I'll tell you what this is. This is a 3-cell 800 milliamp battery, which is exactly the same as this, except this is 30C and this don't say how many C's. So this came from a helicopter, actually. This comes with the Blade 230S helicopter. This is what actually comes with that helicopter. But they do sell these batteries separately. You know, it's just an E-Flight battery. It's a 3-cell 800. I have some 3 cells, but they're like 12 or 1300 milliamps instead of the 800. But I just went with this just to play it safe at first. And because of its size, it's kind of very similar to the size of the stock battery length. The way I'm going to do it, guys, is I'm going to run a strap. Actually, I'm going to run this strap through here. Just a little Velcro strap. Actually, I'm going to slide the battery through here. Then I'm going to use this strap to hold it down. So at this point, you know, we got the battery in here, mounted in here, you know. It's not throwing it off the center either. The weight's still the same. I want to show you guys that little modification. I don't think anybody's really done this yet. I think it was absolutely a must-do because the simple fact these batteries, you know, are just very proprietary, and I have a bunch of these batteries already, so I just want to show you guys that. I think it was a pretty neat little thing, and we will have an upcoming flight video on this.
4 screws that you take off to take this top plate off, and this is what it looks like with, you know, with it off. And then I went ahead and pulled this camera and the board up with these 4 little rubber grommets. You just pop them off, and there's 2 screws that actually hold down the proprietary plug that this thing comes with. If you guys can see it right here. Well, I'm going to solder a positive and negative lead onto that. I'm going to put a JST plug on there. So this way I can run other batteries, because this battery is just ridiculous. You know, this end, I'm not even sure what you even call this end here. There's no kind of adapters out to, you know, for this. You can't even check this with a LiPo checker to see where your battery's sitting, you know, as far as voltage. I'm not that crazy about this whole battery idea, so I'm going to go ahead and make it where I could use other batteries. Just want to give you guys a quick update on that, and I will show you after we're done what it looks like and how it works. Peace.
Alright folks, we're going to go ahead and fly this guy with the my little modification and a battery from my 230S helicopter, which is the same milliamps, the same size, 3-cell, 800 milliamps. So it's not going to be any extra milliamps or anything to that fact. It's just the fact that you're not stuck with the proprietary battery. So you could also run a LiPo alarm if you wanted to, but this is going to be the virgin flight of this particular setup, so we'll see how it works out. Let's see here, see if we can turn her on. Alright, we're going to go ahead and go in blue mode. See how the weight is actually. See if it's actually pretty good. It's pulling maybe a little bit forward, but the wind is also blowing. So far flying pretty good with the helicopter battery instead of the stock battery. Go ahead and fly it around kind of close just to see, feel it out. Like I said, this is the maiden flight of this particular setup and modification. So far, so good. Seems to be flying normal, guys. Alright. Well, that's good. Like I said, I'm going to have to extend the feet a little bit so when you go to arm it, it's on a flat surface. Because the way that little buckle is on the bottom, it kind of throwing it off a little bit when it's on the ground. But no big deal. Could probably just put the battery on the bottom too if I wanted to and just let it sit on the battery, but we'll figure it out. But so far she's flying perfect. As you guys can see though, it's way less ballistic than the Blade 200 QX. But it is a very good flyer, and you gotta remember, it is windy today, and so it's doing really pretty good. It does have those fan guards on there as well still. I believe if you take those off, they'll make a difference as well. And if you fly in rate mode, which I'm not flying in, agility mode, I'm sorry, which is like rate mode for a racing quad. Alright, let's do a punch out too, actually, just to see again. Yeah, I think it does have a little more punch out in the Blade 200. Tell you one thing though, it's hard to follow your orientation with this guy. And it's starting to get a little dark out here too. Definitely an FPV flyer. Not so much line of sight, but I like it though. I think it's a really cool little flyer. It's a lot of fun indoors too. It'd be fun like in a big warehouse or a gymnasium. Yeah, slab. A lot of fun outside though, honestly. Especially if you want to do FPV. I mean, it's real easy to fly quadcopter compared to the 200 UX. Night and day easier to fly. It really does ride the air like they advertise. Light's still not blinking, so doing good on flight time. He's hovering pretty good too, guys. I mean, that's pretty much hovering right there. So the battery's not throwing it off or nothing. So this little modification was a success. And this is something I came up with, guys. This is not something I've seen from somebody else on YouTube. This is totally was my idea. But I'm sure somebody will be like, hey, I came up with a fantastic modification after I put this video out. It always seems to work that way. But lately I've noticed though, quite a few guys have been giving me some credit though. Alright, she is blinking. A couple of guys have been actually used my light mod for the JGRC X1, and they actually advertised that it was Full Metal Heli's light mod, so which is pretty cool. Alright, well, she flew pretty damn good with that battery, guys. Like I said, I'm going to have to extend the feet, though, a little bit so it sits flat on the ground. I'm just going to put a little longer foam pieces down here, possibly, you know. But, actually, this worked really good. Let me go ahead and turn her off. This actually worked fantastic, guys. This is way cooler than having to be stuck with that stock battery. It fits in there nice and snug. It's not going anywhere. You could even run your alarm now because you have a balancing port to run your alarm. Matter of fact, we're going to check the LVC. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what the LVC is on this quadcopter, which nobody else has done because they can't. Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright. Wow, see that? 3.7. 3.78. 3.78. So, you know what? That's pretty good. 11.3. Yep, 3.78 for the first cell, second cell, and third cell. They're all perfectly 3.78. Well, that's great, you know. That's actually, now we know what the low voltage alarm cutoff is on this guy. And please like and subscribe. Peace out.